Welcome back to another episode of Female Fridays. I'm so excited to have my new friend, Noel Slaughter, with me here today. Hello, Noel. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you on the show as well. For our friends who don't know, why don't we start off by you just sharing what got you into the senior living industry?
Yeah. So I've always been interested in food my entire life. When I was a little kid, I used to want to be a Food Network star, and I would host my own cooking shows in the kitchen. And my mom was my assistant, and I always dreamed of having my own cooking show. So when I grew up and I was in college, I was really interested in going into the health field. And so my passion for food and nutrition and health kind of all meshed together. And so that's when I went into the field of nutrition. And I got my degree from UC Davis in clinical nutrition and then became a registered dietitian. And I originally went into the acute care sector, actually, as a clinical dietitian. And that kind of introduced me to more of the food service world. And I originally hadn't really planned on being a food service focused dietitian. But I really reminded me and brought back of my love for food and kind of brought me back to more of my passions for cooking and that type of thing. And so I found that I actually really enjoyed that part of being a dietitian in the food service role. And after working in acute care for about 7 years, I transitioned to a senior living environment. And I really enjoyed that transition. It was different. In acute care, you don't really get to know the patients as well. They're in and out very quickly, from more acute type issues. And in long-term care, more senior living environments like that, you get to have more of a relationship with the patients and get to know them better, and provide a little bit more personalized nutrition care. And so I really enjoyed that.
That is so fun. So when you started out, did you ever think you would be in senior living, or did you, like many of us, just kind of stumble into it?
Yeah, it just kind of happened to me, honestly.
Yeah.
And that wasn't necessarily what I originally thought, but I definitely love working in this type of area and in my role now.
Yeah, and I love that you wanted to be a Food Network star. Did you ever have like the easy bake oven when you were a
Oh,
kid?
definitely. Yeah. My dad still talks about having to eat half-baked cakes from the Easy Bake Oven.
That is just like a core childhood memory. I love
Yeah.
that. So March is Nutrition Month, which is really exciting. This, from my research, you tell me if I'm wrong because you're the expert, but it was started by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics in response of growing concerns about malnutrition and healthy eating habits and diet related diseases. And the whole goal of Nutrition Month is to empower people to take care of their health. Is that all factual? And we'll make sure that's
Yeah, yeah, no, that sounds about right.
so. What is this year's theme?
Yeah, so this year's theme is food connects us. So that could be interpreted in a lot of different ways. I
Mhm.
feel like I can definitely feel that in my role currently, how, I can create recipes for someone maybe on the totally other side of the country. Like that kind of builds that connection. And then also, connecting with peers in the industry through food service. Events or groups and things like that that's also connecting. And so the theme of connecting through food, when it comes to senior living and these residents in these senior living environments that really want to have, these personalized nutrition, and there's so many things now that make that so much easier. So you mentioned earlier it sounded really difficult to accommodate all of these things that we have to think of when it comes to their preferences. Maybe it's their allergens or what they like, or if it's their swallowing difficulty or their ability to chew. There's so many things, and it is really difficult to find what works for people. And so now technology has grown so much from where it was, 5, 10 years ago. There's so many things out there that technology can really help with this. So there's certain food service software systems where you can house all this resident information in there and it will store it for you. So if they don't like broccoli, or if they have an allergy to dairy, or if they have certain chewing and swallowing difficulties and things have worked for them, it's a place where you can really customize things for that resident and have it all documented for regulatory purposes as well. So it makes it a lot easier than the days of, writing on Cardex paper,
Yeah.
keeping little files to search through, having that all at the touch of your fingers in a diet office, and being able to really ensure that what you're providing meets their needs nutritionally and accommodates all of their preferences. Technology is so great for helping make that easier for food service staff.
With us being in the senior living industry, why should we really pay attention to this in particular in senior living?
Yeah, so in senior living, nutrition is so, so important for a variety of reasons. So, back in August of 2024, there was a survey done on senior living residents, and it was asking them various questions on how they pick a place to live in a senior living environment. And there was 69% of respondents reported that the food was of a very high importance in their choice when
Wow.
selecting a senior living location. So when you're in a senior living environment, you don't often have a lot of control over things. You're being moved, relocated, you're being told to do certain activities at certain times. And so food is something that people can maintain control over.
Mm.
So what they like and what they don't like, they look forward to meal times. It's a time where they can enjoy themselves and connect with other residents. Most people do enjoy eating and want to eat foods that they enjoy eating, and so it's something that they look forward to and have a high value on. And then additionally, the types of people in senior living are at risk for malnutrition for various reasons. So they're, often the elderly population where they maybe have decreased activities of daily living. They're not as active as they were, so they're losing their muscle mass, which puts them at high risk for malnutrition. They maybe have comorbidities or other chronic illnesses that can put them at risk for malnutrition. They also tend to have swallowing difficulties or dysphagia, dentition issues, making it hard to chew certain foods. So all of those problems, and also medications that could affect their appetite, that could change the foods that they're able to eat. And so it's so important that all of that is being addressed so that you're providing foods that, one, the resident likes, two, is safe for them, and three, is providing them adequate nutrition to prevent malnutrition or furthering their chronic illness.
Wow, that's incredible. First of all, thank you for that because you're right that we all really enjoy food. I love figuring out what I want to eat for dinner or where I want to go on the weekends or whatever it may be. And so thinking about the place that you live every day, you still want to have that control and that options. But then you also added that extra layer of not only that, but you may have some health concerns. And so that impacts your choice as well. So I love hearing your story and how you got to where you are today. For women in particular who would be interested in getting into this field, what advice would you give them?
I think that one of my biggest pieces of advice from what I've learned in my career is that work-life balance is really, really important. And so
Yeah.
I know that's something that everybody struggles with. And there's definitely been times in my career where burnout was a real thing, and I did not feel that I had a good work-life balance. And I was feeling really run down and not enjoying my work as much as a result. And I'm a mom to two little boys, and I have a family and a household to run. And so I was feeling really disconnected, that I couldn't be necessarily the mom that I wanted to be when I was feeling so much burnout from my role. So I've made changes in my job to prevent, having that type of burnout and having more work-life balance. And now I can enjoy my work so much more. And so I think that's really important, especially for women who are often moms or running households, and making sure that they do have that because, our kids are only little for so long, and your career is a lot longer than the times that your kids are little. So really making sure that what you're doing is working for you and your family.
One thing you talked about was that you put measures in place or guardrails. Can you tell me more about like what you did and how that helped you have that better work-life balance?
I'm just putting some strict rules on myself. So, having a start time and a stop time that you're sticking to, and really following through and telling people about that. So, my team, we all know each other's normal working hours. And if we see each other working outside of our working hours, we're like, hey, what are you doing? You're supposed to be off. Or, it's Friday night. What are you doing on Teams? And so, kind of making sure that you're holding yourself accountable and other people can hold you accountable, because ultimately it really is up to the individual person, how much time they're going to spend and focus on work-life balance. So kind of setting those restrictions and sticking to them.
And is part of it also knowing your options? Because I think so often we grow up, we go to school, and we think this is the one thing I'm going to be. And then life ends up turning into something we never imagined. We're like, how did we get here? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, is part of it too, if you're starting to have this discussion within yourself, to also bring in your network to say, here's the type of life I want to live, and what are some ways that I could use my degree as a dietitian to go in all these different areas? Like, is that part of it as
Oh,
well?
absolutely. Absolutely. There is so many different opportunities in senior living, healthcare, nutrition. There's so many different things to do in the field. And I've definitely been in the position before where I felt very isolated into, maybe a clinical role or a certain food service role, where it was like, this is what I went to school for. This is now the job that I have. And feeling like there wasn't much else out there for me.
Mm.
And having that network is key, because I've really opened myself up now to so many different things and opportunities that I wasn't even aware of before.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even in the early stages of my career, I wasn't even aware that dietitians could work in technology like I am today. And so now knowing that those are options, I've discovered there's so many other options out there. And so working in a facility wasn't working well for me for work-life balance at this time in my life. And so I did seek opportunities that would be allow me a little bit more flexibility that would work better for me. And I'm so much happier in those types of roles now. So there are so many things out there. I definitely understand people maybe feeling kind of stuck in what they've, gone to school for. And it may be hard to see beyond that when you're feeling in that stuck moment. But there are so many different ways, and getting involved in, local groups and different organizations, or going to events, that's where those opportunities can kind of expose themselves for you.
Yeah, thank you for that roadmap. And what I'm hearing you say is that there's a season in your life for everything. And so it's just constantly checking in with yourself and understanding what season you're in and what you want your life to look like, and then making sure that you're bringing people along with you. Because if
Mhm.
you just keep it to yourself, you're not sure what you want to do, and you just try and figure it out all internally, it's hard to truly expand your options. But that's what I love so much about senior living. There's so many opportunities here, whether you come from a broadcast background like me, or coming from, if you're a dietitian, it's like there's so many ways that you can
Mhm.
really get involved. And I absolutely love that. Well, Noelle, it has been incredible to have you on the show. Thank you so much for just helping all of us be educated on Nutrition Month, but also how we can all really advocate for our own self, our own health, but then make better choices in senior living too for our seniors and giving them great food. So I just so appreciate you. Are you willing to connect with others? And if so, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been great chatting with you. I'm available on LinkedIn. Noel Slaughter is my name, and I currently work with MealSuite, and so I you can find me there. I'm happy to connect. If anyone is interested in, volunteering for IDSE or any other organizations that I've mentioned today, I would be happy to help people do that.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Noelle, and we'll see everybody else next week.